Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Chris Armstrong.
Here.
And Ron Miller is absent.
Ron Miller's going to be absent today. Thank you. Approval of minutes of May 15th, 2013 meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 15th meeting.
I second that motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed on a vote of 2-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $467,773.29. I reviewed the claims. I make the motion that we approve the claims as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes on a vote of 2-0. Approval of licenses. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 total for consideration today. I would make the motion that we approve all 8 licenses with one motion.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the approval of licenses, electrician's license for Jeff Cardwell, Lance Davis, Randy Douglas, Lamar Gifford, Richard Hipsher, James Hayes, Mike Mordini, and Max Niblick. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0. Are there any visitor comments? All right, hearing none. Under old business, I believe this is going to be code enforcement.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have in front of you pictures of, we'll start with Mr. Rush's property on Schultz Street. You have pictures that were taken this morning. I would like to commend Mr. Rush on where he started at a few months ago as to where he is today. He's come a long ways. I am going to ask the board to review the pictures I took this morning. You can see that it's not quite 100%, but it is quite a bit better. He still has the remaining fire pit in the middle of his backyard set there with the cement blocks around it. On the east side of his garage, you can see in the top picture that has, the top page that has 2 pictures on it. He's got what appears to be a couple plastic ponds there, bicycle, truck topper, and some ladders up against the garage. Then on it'd be the north side of the garage, taken from the northwest corner of the garage, he's got a partially enclosed stack of, looks like scrap lumber, tarps, some weeds still around it. So I'm going to leave it to the board for your pleasure.
Have you talked to Mr. Rush?
I've not had contact with him for 2 weeks.
Okay. And 2 weeks ago, did he indicate that he was finished, or?
2 weeks ago, he said that he would have it finished by today.
Okay.
I don't know what his interpretation of finished is. And I don't know what the board wants to consider, whether this is adequate or...
One of my concerns is that the ponds, that's probably hard to understand unless you could see the picture, but the ponds, the preformed plastic ponds that are submerged into the ground and then filled with water, are in all likelihood gathering water, and it's providing a place for mosquitoes to nest. And I can see that being a big problem. I think it would help a lot if he would just turn them over so that the water couldn't stand in them. But I think it was probably a month or 6 weeks ago that we had Mr. Rush here. And
he first appeared on May 15th. No, I'm sorry. He first appeared on March 27th.
Okay.
Was his first appearance in front of this board.
Yeah. And it seems as if he's making an effort to improve, but I'm just not sure that he understands exactly the extent that we would like to see the improvements. I appreciate the fact that he has made an attempt. Do you have any input?
Yeah, that to me is very scary, the fire pit or whatever this thing is. But since he has made so much progress, what if we give him another week and have George contact him and tell him because maybe he doesn't understand.
I would second that motion and ask you to personally visit and to try to encourage. The fire pit does look very unsafe. If it falls, it's going to hurt somebody. I mean, potentially a small child. I'd make the motion that we grant a 1-week extension for Mr. Rush regarding his property at 511 12th Street, and based on your being able to have a conversation with him and see if he can let us know his plans for the rest of the property. That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded to grant a 1-week extension to John Rush, 511 Schultz Street. Is there any public comment? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0.
The property at 600 West Linden Avenue, owned by Rosa Arzella, it has been satisfactorily cleaned and looks considerably better now.
Okay, thank you very much for that. You don't have anything to do with the Eagles' first annual?
Mayor Franklin, that when they asked if they could put on that annual car show, it was contingent on getting a certificate saying that the city was also covered. And that afternoon, I got that certification, so that's been taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have more old business regarding 208 South 6th Street. Morning, Bill.
Good morning. We continue to work on 208 South 6th Street. We have not come to a conclusion or a position to be able to make a recommendation to the board. I would ask the board that we be given a 2-week extension on that decision process so we can continue to negotiate and work through with the owners of the other buildings as well as contractors who may or will be interested in reconstruction, if that is an option.
I will make the motion to grant the request to allow another 2-week extension while we sort through this disaster, and we'll go from there.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Right, hearing none. All in favor of granting the 2-week extension regarding 208 South 6th Street, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed on a vote of 2-0. See you in a minute. Under new business, we have a dumpster request for Patience Cottrell, 320 Cole Street, for roof removal. And diagram is on page 2. Common occurrences. Anybody here representing Patience? All right, hearing none. I would make the motion that we approve the temporary dumpster location to allow for a place to dump the shingles and allow the person to more easily replace the roof on their house.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0. Reports. Building Commissioner. Didn't even have to leave.
Good morning, everyone. I did submit my report for your review. If you have any questions on that report, I'm open for discussion. The only other item that I had on my report for discussion would be the property at 404 Howard Street. I did discuss this last week with the board. Again, that's another one I'd like some more time to continue to work on. The house is abandoned, and it has been abandoned for quite some time. There has been no utilities connected to the home for 3 months. I did do a title search on the property. There are no substantial liens placed against the property at this point in time, but I have been unable to locate the owner of the property, and we're still seeking that connection at this point. So I'd like to ask for at least 1 week extension to come with a recommendation on that property.
Is that your entire report?
That's it.
I'll make the motion we accept the building commissioner's report and allow and grant his 2-week extension.
2, please.
And grant a 2-week extension regarding the property at 404 Howard Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
If you'd stop down and see me after this meeting, I'd appreciate it. Code enforcement. Good morning, George.
Morning again. front of you a copy of my report. Just some things I'd like to point out. Trash violations. I'm nearing 100 more already than what I did last year. I'm almost 4 times the number of cleanups than what we did last year. Abandoned vehicles, I'm more than twice the number of abandoned vehicles, as well as cleared by the owner, as well as towed by the city. The weed season has just started. We're actually only about 2.5, 3 weeks into it, and I'm already at half the number of properties that I tagged last year, and close to half of the number that cleaned up by the city. Once we get through with this first round of mowing and get our crew up to full crew, we will more than surpass half the numbers of properties mowed by the city this year. Currently, I have nobody scheduled to appear this week in front of the Board of Works. Respectfully submit my report for your consideration.
I've already had some very positive feedback from some neighbors who have to live next to some of the properties that aren't being maintained. They are very appreciative of what we're doing. I'd make the motion that we accept the building commissioner's report the code enforcement officer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0. Thank you. Superintendent of Public Works. Morning, Dan.
Good morning. I respectfully submit my report for the Mount Hope Cemetery and also the Logansport Street Department. If you have time, thumb through it, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Cemetery coming along pretty good?
Hopefully we will be caught up. It depends on the weather today. But it's not where it should be now.
Big weekend coming up.
Yes, sir. One thing for the street department, if you look in their report, we spent probably, I think I kept track of it, something we do that we don't get any credit for is we put a hitch on the Parks Department dump truck to pull the new stage, and that was about 100% more than we figured on doing. The back end was all rusted out, so we had to weld from the cab all the way back, and it was like 8 to 9 hours of welding.
Wow.
With materials, but
They're in good hands.
$400 to $500 worth that we donated towards that project that we probably don't get any credit for.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions for Superintendent of Public Works? I'd make the motion that we approve the report presented by the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank
Been
you.
moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 2-0. Chief Clark is on assignment today, is not going to be here. Fire Chief Strong as well, not going to be here. Are there any board member comments?
No.
Hearing none. Miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns, and any other matters not already considered. Is there any public comment? Right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.